Well, hello again. Welcome back to the Creek Chronicles. It's been a while, but you joined me for episode 3, an episode that I truly didn't think was going to come to fruition. And I think the reason is self explanatory. Um, but as I said at the end of episode 2, I didn't really know how I would top a Creek Chronicles after landing a fish of a lifetime. Where do you go from there, really? And that's kind of where my whole season has gone now in my mind is, well, where do I go from here? I haven't been back to that spot since I caught that fish. I've had numbers of people come to me and say they've gone by, checked it out, because some of my friends that know it have said that, they wanted to go and see if they could at least catch a glimpse of this fish, and they didn't see it. They still haven't seen it. And that kind of just reminds me of how incredibly lucky I was to have not only laid eyes upon that fish, but also uh, put it in my hands. Right? What a remarkable fish. Still, I still get chills when I think about that. Truly, one of the joys of angling is the memories that are made. But since then, a little update. I did a project with Fishing Canada. Pete Bowman and I took on the beautiful Sunset Haven on Lake Scugog. We captured a ton of fish, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that episode. A web exclusive episode, I might add. Big step for them heading into the social media world. They're going to try to do a full episode on YouTube alone and see what kind of interactions they get with that. And after that, I found a new spot I could play with, and I genuinely enjoyed, but it most certainly was not a creek. And so that brings me here. I'm now at a, a spot that has really surprised me, to be honest. I've seen it, on maps, and I've driven past it a couple of times, and I never really thought much of it, to be absolutely honest with you. But I finally decided after 2 years, let's go out and give it a gander. Needless to say, after putting in some bait here, we're now on day 5 of pre-baiting, and every single time I've come back here, the bait is gone. So I know that there are some fish that are hanging around in this creek, and I'm proper up the creek. In fact, the sound of that car behind me just now, that's one of the first ones I've heard in some time, to be honest. Um, but we're gonna give it a go here today. As I said, 5th day of pre-baiting, and now we're gonna finally put a rig in, and we're gonna see what happens. I'm very hopeful. Pressure feels right, everything feels right, and it's just before spawn, so I know that these fish are going to be hungry. I've already had a bump on the rod. The indicator went off, so I do know that there are fish about. With any luck, we'll be graced with one very shortly. So stay tuned. So the reason why I've chosen this particular spot is because, first of all, it's a creek. Oh, well, they're already in here getting some bumps. This is good. The reason I've chosen this particular spot is because, first of all, it's a creek. And second of all, it's surprisingly deep. I came out here just for the heck of it and plumbed it to see if I could find out what kind of features I was looking for here. And it's got a little bit of everything, including a 15-foot hole in the center of that, would you believe? 30 yards across, and it's got an absolute trench in it. What I believe is that because this is a feeder creek to a larger Trent Severn body of water, it likely at one point, before all the damming and all the lock systems were put in, was a very small ancient creek, maybe 5 feet deep at the most. But as time went on, and as the dams were built and the locks were built up, obviously water was held back in certain places. It was allowed to pass through faster in others. I think what ended up happening was it created these very deep sections of creek. Because all around these wetlands, there's really no business for this water being this deep, unless, of course, the water had somehow come up by an unnatural means. oodles of confidence. Oodles upon oodles of confidence. I'm seeing bubbles actually on the far side as well. I'm getting the odd bump and indication here. I think it could sound off at any minute. So it doesn't feel like a monster, but always that heart-pounding excitement of that first fish. You never really know. Never know. Some of those cattails, some of the lily pads, but got a pretty strong leader on there, so I have lots of confidence. What have we got here? What happened here? Oh yes. Well, there we go. By no means a monster, but always too good to start off with a fish, isn't it? Let's have a close look at this one. Well, as I said, it's not a big result, but it is indeed a result. A lovely, dark little low double here. Sometimes you got to go through a few of these before you find a real creature, but a stunning fish nonetheless, proving that the campaign has been effective. The fish are here. Let's get this one back, see if we can't have another. Well, hasn't taken too long. And we're in again. Once again, not a monster. We kind of tend to expect this when you pre-bait, that you're going to draw in not necessarily quality of fish, just quantity. This could be another high single, low double. Definitely no sign of letting up. Come on, guy. Well, you win some and you lose some. This does feel like a little bit more of a substantial fish than the last two I looked into here. Doesn't want to give up. Hard fighting fish in this little section, I'll tell you what. Very hard fighting fish. Looks to be a pound or two bigger than the first one. snags are, and all of that jazz. But he has been found. Lovely common. Get this one up on the mat and have a look. A bit of an upgrade from the first fish. Lovely little mid-double here. Fought like crazy too. Still nice and dark. Definitely a fish that's been hanging out in the shallows, mucking about. See some leeches on her lip, actually, this one. So let's get this one back, and hopefully we can get a couple more. Hopefully they keep getting bigger from here. What a screamer!
Yes, that was a nice one.
Funny enough, a student that I often supply teach his class actually stopped by with his father. It is Father's Day after all. I truly can't wait till I can take my own son out here fishing. It's funny, if you were to look at this right now, you'd think the fish is right there, but in all actuality, it's sitting actually in those weeds right there, just out of sight. It's crazy how they do this. Very smart fish here. Very aware of their environment. I still believe there's a fish at the end of it. As hard as that might be to believe. Here, whatever it is coming to shore. It is coming in. Maybe I can get a glimpse of it yet. Wherever it is. Very smart fish indeed. Keep those steps back here. I see things here. Oh. Big bit of something. There we go, and we're on. And the nice thing is, I don't think I'll have a problem with it again next time. There we go. A little bit of patience and a little bit of pressure, and that fish is free of that snag. Looks like he had plenty stored up in the tank as well. Definitely going to have to check the leader on this for any sort of abrasion afterward. It's hard to tell the size of this fish. It is really quite flaily, which usually indicates a smaller fish, but plenty of nitrous in the tank. Yeah, it's just another small fish. About the size of the first and the second one, which I lost. It's just crazy how these fish just never seem to give up. Oh. He's getting tired. Hopefully this elk is soon going to be towards an hour here. Real. Looks to be an aggressive little male. You can pull the spunk, you know that spawn is fast approaching. When they fight like that. And that next, there we are. Well, a lot of work for a small fish, but it's a fish indeed. Let's get it up on the mat and have a look at it. Third fish landed. Once again, another low double here. Very spunky male. Lots of nitrous in the tank. What a fight. And I was saying that this fish clearly knows his environment very well. Wrapped me around the same bit of debris on the bottom as that second fish did. Well, I suppose third fish, second fish landed did. This time I managed to pull it out of the swim, so I think in future I won't struggle with it again. But long, lean male, fought like an absolute tank. Let's get this one back. About halfway through the time that I allotted for this session this evening. And as you can see, fish are definitely still in here. Jesus, that would have made a blooper reel for certain if I'd fallen down there. The fish are definitely still in here. Still seeing the bubbles rising like crazy over top of my baited area. Had a few indications as well. I would say it's been another successful find here. And what a beautiful little place too. Well, the action is actually truly slowed to a halt here. But they're crashing right in front of me. There's been a few bumps on the line that I could see, but definitely no real committed pickups. I mean, it could happen any second, but try to keep my voice down as much as possible. I'd say it was a successful third installment to the Creek Chronicles. Of course, this is going to be a work in progress, this little spot. And I think that the spawn is about to begin. And I think that might explain why the action really hasn't sounded off here. Throughout the day I was hearing crashes and whatnot up in the lily pads and whatnot up there and in the cattails. And although I did see one or two beaver as well, just the sheer magnitude of it all, I think there was a few carp already spawning and rubbing the shoreline. So I think the next time we'll see each other, we will be fishing post-spawn carp. Until next time, tight lines.